we'll be presenting everything we've learned and achieved thus far in the Administration and Management in Construction course. First off, here are the four phases we'll be presenting. Well, it's one of the course. We start by identifying the difference between administration and management. And administration can generally be done by an accountant. Doesn't need a lot, and it involves just organizing and directing resources to maximize business efficiency. However, when it comes to management, you need to have a vast knowledge of the materials you use and the procedures and the cost, as long as also the activities you'll be doing, and you need to cover more than the administration does. Therefore, it should always be considered an architect or an engineer to take this role. Then we take a look at the administration cycle. It consists of 6 phases: the planning, the organization, the direction, execution, monitoring, control, and evaluation, and then also the continuous improvement. To understand this, we created a company, in this case, Vital Design, with a mission and a vision. And the mission is why and why we did this. Who is it for? And the vision is what the company aspires to do, its vision towards the future. We use an organigram in order to understand everyone's role within the company. We created several roles: a CFO, a director of marketing, a director of innovation, a direction in human resources, and one in operations. This helps to understand in a visual guide who and why everyone should be working in what, and their general task services: design, remodeling, and consulting. This is what we present to our clients and makes the difference between us and other companies. Now we take a look at Unit 2. In Unit 2, we learned about the laws and regulations and governing bodies that affect our construction. First off, the alignment. It defines the limits of the land, where we can build, and how much of the land we can use, and it also gives an official number. Second, we look at the segregation. This is the separation of part of property from a new one that requires administrative licenses. The land usage, which tells us what kind of project we can build. In our case, sometimes it could be a business, land usage license, or a living one. The feasibility, the economical, legal, and environmental feasibility issued by the municipality of our governing bodies. And the construction license is authorized by the local governments. Then we look at the security protection. This is a body that tells us how safe our project is during and after the construction. The technical documentation, that is the blueprints, the sketches, the topographical and architectural planning, and the plot spaces that every area is using. Also, it gives us the COS and the CUS, and the key authorities, the municipality or city councils, in charge of the land use and construction licenses. In the technical criteria, as we saw, we take a look at the COS and the CUS as the calculation of densities based on the local regulations. This tells us how much we can build and how tall a building can be. We saw the basis of a contest and how everything that we've learned in Unit 2 applies. First off, the basics of the project. It tells us the specifications of what the client is asking and how we must mitigate everything. The scope specifications and the budget payment strategy. That is how much we're getting paid and how we're moving these payments. We take a look at the required documents, as we saw that everything is in line. The activities calendar will tell us when and where we need to be working, and the estimates of the percentage depending on the week. Take a look at phase 3. We start off by understanding the foundations of control and planning in construction. We use a critical path. There are 2 types, the PERT and the CPM. The PERT method controls execution times of the various activities in projects, ensuring each is completed within an available time. And the CPM method aims to control and optimize costs. Now we take a look at the Excel charts we did throughout the semester in order to understand how the workflow should be organized. In this scenario, we see the project progress control, the duration divided in 10 weeks, the budget we're given, and how we must divide also not only our work, but also the amount of weeks we work. In the weekly estimation with amortization of the advance payment, we see the amount estimation with the advance payment, the amount paid, and plus the interest, in this case, the IDA. Scenario 1, the weekly estimate with advance amortization. Amount per task divided by the weeks, the approved amount, and the weekly disturbance paid. Here is the disturbance in weekly given to us in money amounts, the estimated amount with the paid amount, and the estimation with the advance payment. Here's the first graph. It's a visual representation of how everything is going and helps us to understand on another level how we are working. In this case, we see the amount that we're getting paid and the weeks we're supposed to be paying, we're supposed to be working, and we see how the graph is growing in a normal rate. Here's a better understanding and the visual representation of these graphs. In the scenario 2, we take the percentage estimation with amortization of advance payment and a 10% retention. Because things change and the amount of weeks have been increased, in this case the graph is not as smooth as the last one.
This is the fourth stage of the construction management course. Now we are going to talk about the CMIC. The Mexican Chambers of Construction Industry is an organism that represents the construction business in Mexico. It was founded in 1953 with the idea of promoting professionalism in this area, promote good practice, and it helps shifting towards sustainability in the industry through teaching and representation. The CMIC has also created a series of manuals that function as a practical guidance to further promote efficiency and quality. We divide them in 5 subtopics, which are planning and administrating, control and supervision, norms and legal, technology and techniques, and professionalism and training. We also created our portfolio. Having a portfolio that showcases our works and compile our achievements can position ourselves to be noticed by clients and business owners. Publishing our portfolio to platforms like LinkedIn strengthens our connections with companies and individuals on our related areas in today's fast-paced, interconnected world. A professional portfolio should include several key elements to be effective. First, a professional introduction summarizing your education, interests, and goals. Then it's important to showcase relevant projects, highlighting the role you played in each one. An updated resume is essential. Finally, including certificates and achievements to support your experiences is also very important. Now, let's talk about cost calculation. Factors such as the type of project, finishes, and cost per square meter, total square meters, and profit margin must be considered when estimating the budget. These calculations allow for informed decisions about materials and design, ensuring that the project is feasible and stays within the available financial margins. How to calculate them? To calculate the cost of a project, you begin by identifying the type of construction and the total square meters. Then, you break down the direct cost, which includes materials, labor, and equipment. Next, indirect costs are added, such as administrative expenses, permits, and supervision, usually calculated as a percentage of the direct cost. And finally, a profit margin is added to determine the selling price, ensuring a fair margin of profit. As a construction manager, learning how to calculate direct cost, indirect cost, profit margin, and selling price is essential to understanding how a percentage budget is structured. That's why, in these two scenarios, we calculated the missing elements of our total budget. In the first case, we are missing the direct cost. And in the second case, we are missing our indirect cost. Throughout the construction management course, we were able to take practice in real life more than once with our visits to construction sites. For example, the time that we went to CATSA, which is a concrete factory where we were able to see how the mixture process and resistance tests were made by operators. We also went to Andesa Tower, which is going to be a residential top-notch building in Puebla, where we were able to see the construction of the foundation of the tower.
And now our conclusions and recommendations of what we learned in the course. First off, our recommendations. Before we start a construction project, we need to take a look at all the necessity and the permits that we need to present our clients and the governing bodies in order to make the project feasible and working. We must take a look at all the contracts that are presented to us in order to know how feasible a project can be and how we must manage our resources and how to create an accurate budget. Well, this is necessary to be aware of all the costs involved, such as the direct ones and indirect ones. And our conclusions. So what did we learn? We learned everything that involves a project. We learned how to manage our times and our skills and our team's ones. We learned how to achieve all the goals we set our team and ourselves within a project. And it can help us also in our personal life. We now know how to manage our time. We now know also how to achieve the goals that we set to ourselves. And how can it help us? Our professional life is very soon. And with that, we need to learn how to solve all the project and issues that may arrive to us. We need to learn how to control ourselves and how to control the project that we're in charge of. For your time, we thank you, and we hope to see you again very soon.